Hey guys, quick little update on the notebook challenge. I thought that I would kind of show you where I ended up landing with both the A5 Stalogy as well as the B6 size Stalogy. I have some thoughts about both. I'm going to include some of the check-ins that I've done throughout this process. I haven't done the full 30 days and I wasn't planning on doing the full 30 days anyway, as in I wasn't planning on doing it within one video to check in with you. I will check back in part 2, I guess, for when we actually hit the 30. But I thought that we would just kind of talk about this. So if you wanted to kind of see how everything is going when it comes to like just, I don't want to say forcing myself, but you know, just challenging myself to use my notebooks a little bit more, then just stay tuned and let's get right into this. If you like videos like this one where we're talking about like anything and everything stationery, journaling, planning, inks, all the things planner and stationery related. If you love stuff like that and you want to kind of avoid just getting into consumerism, you should definitely consider subscribing, because we try to be intentional with the things that we buy and the things that we use here. So that's sort of like our whole thing here. Let's just get started. My most used notebook so far has been the B6 size Stalogy. And honestly, I have to say, I'm really thoroughly enjoying this. I definitely see the hype around this. I definitely see why it's popular. I love the paper quality. I will say this right off the bat. I used both fountain pens. So this was the Uni 1 pen that I was using pretty consistently in it. And also I've tried both the Sailor pens, and I believe I was also rocking the Kaweikos in there. I haven't had any issues with any of them. There really isn't like an obsessive amount of ghosting, at least not something that would really bother me from the previous page. I think it really just depends on how thin the nib is if you're using fountain pens. Let me get this in frame. Here we go. So the three purposes that, just as a quick refresher, the three purposes that I picked out of like the full list of what was available, I picked a running log, I picked a swatch, and I picked like a skincare like update. I did quickly abandon the skincare update because I didn't feel the need to consistently keep coming back to like writing about which skincare products I'm using and then how it's going, because my skin really enjoys the stuff that I'm using right now, and I will continue to use them until I use them up before I have to kind of repurchase new ones. So then I stuck with both the running update and the swatches. Ultimately, what actually won was the swatch book update. And I love this. I love everything about this. I love that everything is spaced out. I don't feel like I'm cramped for space. And I also added a little section for thoughts, what I think about the color itself, what I think would be best for, like which pen it would be best for, and when I'm actually planning on inking it next. Sometimes, especially when I just get like a whole bunch of samples of different inks and they look similar, I do totally forget which pen I ink that ink into, if that makes sense. So, and honestly, sometimes if I get a new pen, I want to ink it up right away. I don't want to keep going back and try to remember the micro details of my inking journey. So sometimes it's having like a little book that is fully dedicated for inks is to me such a, it just hits differently. And I didn't want to get anything from Rhodia. I didn't want something where you kind of like flip the notebook over and stuff like that. So this format seems to work really great for me. I did continue on with the running update. I think we went all the way up to about day 4. We can probably do day 5. We can go into day 5 with the updates. But I really like this as a swatch book. I would probably not use it back to back because it does ghost quite a bit if I'm using it pretty heavily, but I still like that I can write like a little profile about it. Like to me, that just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like it's such a nice little, it's just so nice to just have that as a function within a notebook where it's like fully dedicated to not only inking, but then after that I feel like I can kind of create like spreads where it's all about like clunking together the browns and clunking together, you know, the reds and like the different color palettes, or what is something that performs really similarly within the same pen. So I kind of see myself diving a little bit more deeper into that. and nerding out on pen details. And if you love that, just let me know in the comments and I'm happy to film it. But at least I would want to kind of have that micro detail for my own personal pleasure, because sometimes I just really want to subsegment information with like the stationery that I have. And then that way I can like subcategorize them. I don't know why. Sometimes I totally don't care. Other times it's just like, it's one of those things that just bring me pleasure. So that's it about the B6 size Stalogy. I definitely see myself like repurchasing more of the size. The size and the functionality definitely is working for me. Now let's talk about the A5. The A5 is also working for me, but it works for me in a little bit different way. I'm planning on using this primarily for business purposes, so I haven't really given this like a full go. However, the more I kind of think about this, I will probably buy one more of this and then just give it to my husband, because this is his idea of like a great planner, which I know it sounds wild, but really he's like such a note section guy that I think that this would actually be the most perfect, most ideal little compact little booklet that would just kind of suit all of his needs. He never really uses a monthly. He never really appropriately uses a weekly spread, so therefore there's not much of a function for it there. It's just like a full-on just, you know, it's like literally just your typical like bullet journal type of dude. So I see myself buying more of these for that purpose, but like for myself, I want something where I can kind of write out video ideas and really prep them and really use it for the purpose of really just creating things for businesses, creating things for my own channel, creating things for short format videos, how to repurpose them. I really want to have, rather than just kind of writing out just video ideas, I want to really utilize this for social media content creation in all of its formats. And sometimes I feel like I feel a little bit torn, because sometimes I feel like I need to have all of that information written in like the Hobonichi weeks, and I have to write it in like super small, or like I have to have like a dedicated like small little notebook with me at all times to kind of do that. So that's sort of like my premise of this, where I didn't really realize that I had this need, but then when I'm kind of looking at like, where would I want to keep track of all of this? Where would I want to kind of like write it? It's not necessarily in a planner. In a planner, I want to kind of just write out what I'm actually planning on doing, as the name suggests. But within a notebook, I really would like to have something dedicated where I can not only hash out the ideas, but really subsegment each section if I'm creating a course of what I want to include, how I want, and I really want it to come together cohesively. And maybe that's just my procrastinating mind, just creating all of these extra systems and roadblocks. But I do believe that if I kind of write out my thoughts and really plan them out and structure them appropriately, I will not only avoid kind of rambling on, but then I also feel like then the content that I want to create is going to be a little bit more precise, and it will hit the right way that it was intended for. So that's kind of my thoughts on both of these. I would love to know where you're at with your notebook challenge, if you're still continuing on. And also just a quick little side note, I'm sorry that we took a little bit of a break from videos last week. I was honestly in the middle of selling my car and getting it ready for sale, and then, you know, the people are coming, and it was like a whole thing. And honestly, mentally, I can't tell you how much mental bandwidth that takes up of just constantly being on when you're selling something like your car, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but then when you end up not having a car anymore, it kind of screws with your head a little bit. That plus being busy at work is just like another layer of we're just very much in this phase of my life where I'm shifting, and I'm shifting career-wise, I'm shifting my roles, I'm shifting so that I have a lot more space to create more intentional videos for you guys here, as well as some of the other like projects that I'm planning on working on moving into the remainder, the second half of 2024, so to say. So I appreciate you guys, that's just to say I appreciate you guys being patient with me and being here and hanging out, and whenever I release the new videos that you guys are actually enjoying it really does mean the world to me. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe and do all the things to support the channel. It really does go a long way. And if you wanted to see more behind the scenes and things like that, then please check out both Patreon and the membership that I have here. I think you would probably enjoy it. But back to the video, I would really love to know where you're at with your own notebook journey. I still have like the small ones. I'm just using the traveler's notebook as a cover because I also have this little guide that I bought. I think this is from Yamamoto paper. So I do have quite a few of these inserts. I have one from Muji, I have one here, I have one from Field Notes. So I do have a couple of inserts here, and I might just do a separate one. If you guys are interested, we should do maybe like a part 2 of how we can kind of utilize this little one, because I think that this will function so differently than how I would plan to use these guys. These guys primarily stay home. This one will come with me. So I just let me know if you guys want to see a part 2 of that, of like some of these smaller size notebooks, because I think that that's like a whole other category all on its own, even though they still fall into the category of notebooks, but you end up using smaller notebooks totally differently, at least in my opinion. So it has been 1, 2, but we're on like day 3 of my update about the Stalogy notebook. And so far, my thoughts are this. I've been using my Yoseka fountain pen. This is in a fine nib. Very, very smooth, like writing experience. Obviously, you're not going to get the same thing that you would get from like a Hobonichi, where like the Tomoe River paper is there and it's like very creamy and smooth and thin. So I would say that the paper quality is thicker, but it's kind of nice. Like I've tried the Uni pen. So I have this one. This is in the 0.5 thickness, which is initially what I kind of wrote this up with. I'll show you a close up in a second. It's very thick and very kind of chunky, not chunky, that sounds like there's like texture there. There isn't. Basically the 2 pens that I tried is a Uni one in 0.5, and I also tried this pen. This is from Friction Ball. Oh my gosh, who is this from? Yeah, it's from Friction. It's from Pilot. So this is the erasable pen that you can get from Pilot. I like both, but honestly, my preference is still going to be with fountain pens, just because it's just, to me, it just becomes a smoother writing experience. I find a lot of times like the Uni pens do end up skipping. And as far as using it and updating it, it's becoming very, very similar to, like, I find it like in the top section, I have to write like the actual purpose of like what I'm going to be writing about. So I have 2 days worth of skincare update, which I've been finding really helpful. And then I think we have 2 days worth of running updates so far. So we're on day 2 out of the day 10. And today I'm going to do an update on skincare again, where I can just kind of write down like the main updates of what's going on. I'm kind of looking at getting a new SPF, even though I do have SPF, but I find that it's not going to be like, it's not going to be strong enough when you're like working out outside. So I'm just kind of going to be using this page to do like a little bit more research on what's out there, what's available. I want to do more research on Korean skincare, because honestly, that's like a whole other rabbit hole that the only way that I can kind of function through it is if I have like a full research happening. So enough rambling. So far my update is that it's going great. It's really similar experience to the Midori notebook, which is really cool. I don't know, like it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to like have some sort of like a challenge to hold me accountable and like using these notebooks. And honestly, like I love this size. Like I really, really, truly love it. So we'll check back in at day 5. Anyway, this is basically what I want to share with you. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Let me know how you're doing with your own notebook challenge, if you will. I would love to hear from you guys. And in the meanwhile, just keep planning, keep journaling, keep doing all the things. And I cannot wait to see you in my next one. Bye.